And welcome back, everyone. As we've added a new segment here on the Steve Finnegan Show. Every Thursday at this time, we will have as our guest Jay Robertson from Opportunity, Arkansas. His counterpart, Nick Horton, is, of course, one of my guest hosts and appears with First News with Toby and Rebecca. But, Jay, I got you all to the Finnegan Show.
That's right. I'm here. Glad to be here.
Now, there's something near and dear to, I think, both of our hearts, and that is school choice, because I think it's so important, especially for parents to have the right, if their school is a failing school and they want to get their child out and into a better school, or homeschool, that we now have some more freedom to do that with the school choice. Now, you made me aware of something I didn't know. It was quite the read at 90-something pages, but the University of Arkansas's College of Education and Health Professions puts out an annual report. So where would you like to start on that annual report? And let the audience know, because I know there's parents listening now that are concerned about this issue.
Yeah, well, to start with, like you said, it is an issue we care a lot about at Opportunity Arkansas, because we work on generational problems, and we know that for generations, kids have been trapped in schools that weren't meeting their needs, and parents just didn't have another option. And Arkansas is leading on this issue. That's the big takeaway from this report. It's 90 pages. There's a lot of data there, but the takeaway is that for the first time now, every family in the state has the opportunity to choose an education setting that fits them, whether that's a private school, homeschool, microschool, religious school. The reason this report is so interesting is that it's being circulated nationally. So we're making national news here in Arkansas for our Education Freedom Account program. That this is the third year it's been in operation. This year it became available to every single family in the state. And what this report does, as you mentioned, the University of Arkansas did a great job on this. They worked with the department, and they looked at all the data from last year to see who's using this, how is the money being spent, how does it work for taxpayers in the context of the total education budget. And what's interesting is that we're seeing this celebrated nationally. Other states are looking to say, how can we replicate what Arkansas has done here? Unfortunately, in state, the opponents of education freedom, the Coalition for the Status Quo, as I like to say, they're trotting out the same myths and attacks on this program that aren't true and haven't worked. And this report really undercuts and dispels all those myths to show that this program is working. It's working for families, and these dollars are actually going to provide a better education for thousands of students.
And that, as you and I both know, Jay, is absolutely the key to this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we're specifically talking about here is Arkansas's Education Freedom Accounts, the EFA program. And that's under attack from the left, as Nick said, that are just seeking the status quo. Now, what I was really surprised with, Nick, is that the participation in this program now has more than doubled, and it's up to 14,256 active students from originally 5,548. That's a pretty large increase.
It's a big deal. And, you know, the report just looks at last year's numbers, so it doubled from year one to year two. And the latest numbers we've actually seen this year put it closer to 50,000. So that would be tripling from year two to year three.
Wow.
And what that signals is that choice is popular. Education freedom is popular. Parents want options. And the other piece here that's really interesting is they compare families who were in the program from year one to year two. 91% of families that use an EFA continued in the program and chose to keep using it. And that's really remarkable. It shows that parents, when you put them in charge, they know what's best. and they're choosing to continue using this program, and it's important that we continue supporting it going forward.
Yeah, and that's now one of the things I think it's important that I'm going to anticipate maybe some of the questions some of the members of the audience might have about these. They can use this money, this education freedom account, for primary purposes like paying tuition or core educational services, and also supporting the homeschool needs. In the marketplace, according to the report, is continuing to diversify. So there's a lot of service providers that are now getting into this to make education products available, I guess.
That's right. So as we've had more families use the program, we've seen more options pop up. More schools have signed on to provide services to these kids. And when you talk about the use of the funds, this is something that the opponents of education freedom like to say, well, they're being used for all these random things that are improper uses of the money. Well, first of all, that's just not true. So it can only be used for educational expenses. Over 80% of that was tuition. The rest of it was curriculum, anything that furthers the education of a child. And, the really remarkable thing here is that we heard all these discussions during the legislative session about, well, there's fraud in this program or there's misspending. This report completely demolishes that to show that there's virtually zero fraud or misuse in this program. Less than 1% of transactions were identified as improper, and those were rejected. So that money was not misspent.
So let me get this straight. Even it's less than 1%, but the appropriate people at the Department of Education caught these and rejected the reimbursement for these unauthorized expenditures.
Absolutely. Zero instance of fraud or misuse. And compare that to any other government program for a minute.
That's remarkable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we've got tens of millions of dollars misspent on welfare programs in this state, and this program is efficient. It's accountable to parents, and it's working. It's something we as Arkansans should be really excited about, that we're leading the country on this, and we're going to continue talking about this in Opportunity Arkansas. It's important we support this program and fully fund it because it's a benefit to taxpayers. It's a benefit for students. And we want to make sure this opportunity is available for the next generation as well.
But here something, efficient use of the money, that it's not fraudulently being expended, but return on investment, if you will, the ROI, big deal to me. And the ROI is indicating that the children that are participating in these programs, or whether it's using another school or homeschooling, is the test scores are absolutely showing that these kids are indeed learning and retaining this information.
That's right. And, one of the lines of attack on this program, we've heard people say, well, these schools aren't accountable and they don't have to comply with all these requirements that public schools do. Well, first of all, I'd say accountability is not the same thing as bureaucratic compliance with a rule. Accountability is when parents have the ability to leave and vote with their feet. That's real accountability. But even when you do look at the test scores that they include in here, you have these students outperforming national averages on these norm reference tests. And once again, I just point to the fact that we have 91% retention. That's parents. Parents know better whether their kids are learning and thriving, and you can never fully capture all that in a test score. But even if we do, the test scores are great, and we should continue trusting parents because I think that this report is a really strong indicator that the program's working, and it's something we should be proud of.
Absolutely. Now, Jay, you experienced this last week, and I'm sure it's going to surprise you when I say we're already at the end of the first segment here, and it's time for us to check in with John Luke on traffic. So I'm going to put you on hold for a second, and then when I come back, I want to pick up with because I know there's parents right now that are saying, hey, is my kid eligible for this? I want to participate, so I want to get a little bit into that. So I'll give you some time to think about that. All righty. And welcome back, everyone, to the Steve Finnegan Show here on News Radio 1029 KARN. Of course, I have my guest Now, this is going to be a regular segment on the show. Jay Robertson with Opportunity Arkansas. And we're talking about the report that just was released from the University of Arkansas about the student freedom accounts and the homeschooling that was passed under the reform that Governor Sanders put forth in her first legislative packet. So, Jay, I've had several people text in on our American Leak Detection Hotline, some with questions and some saying, one lady wrote in and said this absolutely saved her daughter and how successful that they have enjoyed this. So maybe you can help me out with this first of all. One of you listeners asked, how did they achieve such a good not wasting of money that there was less than 1% of the claims for reimbursement were rejected, and so no claim for reimbursement that was not authorized went out. So this program was 100% successful in preserving the taxpayer dollars. And I actually found it in the report, ladies and gentlemen. It's Student First Technologies or Class Wallet are the two secure digital accounts payable platforms that ensured the funds were delivered directly to the participating schools and the service providers for educational services and qualifying expenses. So that's the answer to your question on that. Now, the other question, as I anticipated, Jay, was how does my kid qualify for this? And I think I found it when I went looking for the how the payments were processed. It's right there on the same page there on page 6 if you have it in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I don't want to skip past the listener who said this changed the life of their kid. I mean, that's remarkable. And we have thousands of stories like that across the state. And I think it just goes to show you that when you allow parents to make a better decision for their kid, you know, we see that one of the main reasons that people choose a different option is their kid might have special needs that's just not being met in the school in their district, or they might be bullied, and it might just be a bad environment. It might just be a bad fit due to no fault even of the public school. It may just not be the right setting for them. And sometimes just having a kid in the right setting can really turn things around. And so we've got a lot of stories of parents on our website. And that's also to your next question. On opportunityarkansas.org, if you go to our website, at the very top, there's a banner that says Empower AR Parents. And that's our parent dashboard. You can click there, and there's lots of details about exactly how this works. There's links to apply for it. There's resources there for parents who are interested in this program. I would encourage anybody that's listening that's interested, go to opportunityarkansas.org, click on Empower AR Parents, get all the info there. You can click to sign up. And we also have a place there where you can share your story. So we share stories of people like that from around the state whose lives are being changed by this program. And I would encourage any of the listeners who are in that situation, please reach out to us. And we'd love to share your story because it matters. Lawmakers need to hear that this is working, and they need to be encouraged to continue supporting this program going forward.
Actually, that is indeed, you, without me even saying it, enumerated one of the responses on the American Leak Detection text line was this lady said, my child was being severely bullied, and we used this program, and the child is thriving now. So
it's amazing. And you know, that's one of the key components of education freedom is that what we envision for Arkansas is a place where parents aren't locked into one option based on where they live, but that they have multiple options to choose from. And as we know, in any sort of free market economy, when you have multiple choices, that sort of competition between providers drives improvement. And so giving parents the option to choose, the rising tide lifts all boats. And I think we're just starting to see some of these positive outcomes now that we're only the first year into this program being available to everybody. And so I think we're going to have thousands more stories like this as it continues to grow.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, what I did was Let me scroll back up real quick. I put in University of Arkansas College of Education and Health Professions is whom this report was prepared and done by. But all I did was put 2024-25 Arkansas Education Freedom Accounts annual report. And then boom, it came right up on the university's website and was able to click on the link. Now, there's a lot of charts at the back that make up this report, but if you read the executive summary and into this, now the only thing is, Nick, sorry about that, Jay. I called you Nick.
No worries. I've been called worse.
Nick's listening. He's laughing right now. But anyway, according to the report, the 2024-25 academic year, a student must have to be eligible to enroll in an Arkansas public elementary or secondary school, have a parent who is a current resident of the state, and meet at least one of the following additional criteria. Now, I don't know if this has changed or not. Number one, a first-time kindergartner. Two, a student who attended a D or F-rated public school in the previous year. Three, a student who participated in the Succeed Scholarship Program for the 2022-2023 school year. I don't know if that's still in there.
So each of those were the requirements as the program was phased in. So for last school year, this year you only have to meet those first two. If you're a resident of the state and your kid's eligible to enroll in a K-12 school here in the state, then you're eligible for the program.
So no more current, former foster care child, students experiencing homeless. But
no, that's right. This year it's available to everybody in the state that wants one, which is really amazing. And we're one of only a few states that have done this. And so it's something that should be celebrated.
Yes, and it is. And I think and the most important thing is the amount of kids that are thriving under this, because I'm looking at the student participation now. 36% of the kids under that first, one of them was students with disabilities, ladies and gentlemen, whether it was cognitive or physical, they were allowed in, but to participate in the first year. Now that's, as Jay said, it's open to everybody. Students with disabilities was 36% of the largest subgroup of the people that were participating in this, according to the report. So,
and I think we've heard from parents. A lot of parents see that their kids just needed something additional, and so if they were being homeschooled or they were at a private school or even at a public school, they realized that they might need some additional supports. And so this program is really serving those students well. And we've got a story on our website. Paula Bean was a public school teacher, but made the difficult decision to homeschool because her child needed that support. And she told us the first time she got the EFA approval dollars, she cried.
Wow.
Because they were able to afford these services, these therapies for their kids. And
Jay, we have about 30 seconds or so left. So one last quick question. In the report, it contained the list of 126 private schools that were participating in the EFA program. How many is that list expanded?
Yeah, that number's grown. It's still around 120, but the number of total service providers is over 2,000 now. So lots of different options for parents, and we expect that to continue to grow.
Okay. Well, Jay, I appreciate you being here. I'll look forward to having you on again next Thursday.
Thank you, Steve. Talk to you then.
God bless, my friend. All right.